need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
Stephanie is writing from Nashville, Tennessee. She writes, "Hi, Betsy. Congratulations on your pregnancy. I am due myself this summer, and I'm working hard to get our newish home furnished before our baby arrives. I have a question about our living room. We just received our new crate and barrel sofa with chaise, which was the last major furniture purchase for the room. I'm trying to figure out whether the sofa should be pulled off the wall like it is in the attached photos, and whether we should add a sofa table behind it for lamps or a place to put drinks. Someone at Crate and Barrel recommended that I do this, as the room is quite deep, so it looked a bit odd against the back wall, as it was so far from the TV. I also like it because if we had it against the wall, the rug would have to move back, and there would be a huge space of wood between the end of the rug and the TV. What do you think? The couch is as is and a sofa table, or move the sofa back against the wall? What are the rules for how long the sofa table needs to be behind the couch? The couch is large at 112 inches. My second question is your advice on how to style the blank white wall above the couch. I have several pieces of artwork and photos in natural wood and gold frames that I was envisioning putting here. I don't think a mirror would look great as it would reflect the TV opposite it. Should I get a floating shelf to line the photos? If we go the sofa table route, I would also plan to have 2 table lamps flanking the couch. Thank you for your guidance and for your help. I hope you start to feel better ASAP." Well, thankfully, Stephanie, I am feeling so much better. I was thinking about it. I think the percentage of how I'm feeling, I think I'm at 85%, my normal Betsy self. And that's really good because I was at 25. I was at 5, maybe 15% my normal Betsy self just months ago. I basically was just laying on the daybed in my cottage, hoping that people didn't want to do meetings on Zoom because I looked as bad as I sounded and felt. But I'm sitting upright, I'm smiling, I'm enjoying nature. The timing was absolutely perfect. Okay, let's dig into your pictures. Let's see here. So yes, you do have a nice deep room. I can't exactly size it up, but I'm going to imagine this rug is like an 8 by 10 just based on my experiences. And so I bet this room is about 14 feet deep, which isn't huge, but it's not small. You know, the only reason I would use a sofa table in this particular room is if there was space to walk behind, because otherwise you're really just bumping this sofa up 12 to 24 inches. And I don't think that's really doing much. It's creating this awkward kind of space behind. Additionally, you know, sofa table with lamps is a really nice look in a magazine. It's a really nice look in some homes. The problem, especially with a little one running around, is that you're going to have cords going from the lamps to typically a wall outlet. Not many of us have outlets in the floor. And even if we do, they're oftentimes cut or covered, by the rug. And do we want to cut the rug to access that? Question mark. We need to be very careful with fire codes and electricity and having layers of fabric over an outlet that's being used with a plug in it. So sometimes the lamps on the sofa table are not the most practical solution. And in this case, we would be seeing a cord or cords leading to an outlet because you would just have this sofa so close to the wall. If you moved it much closer to the TV, say 2 or 3 additional feet closer, it would look a little odd. You're right on the cusp for me of moving this in, and my answer is no. What I think you should do is get a bigger TV. I think this TV is way too small for the space because you want to take a measurement from where your eyeballs are to where the TV screen is. And that number in inches divided by 2 is the size of your TV. Now, you don't have to be super literal because if we were to think about doing that with, say, a 14-foot deep space, That would mean that we would need a 77-inch TV, something around there, and that's gigantic. But I would definitely do a 65-inch for sure. And I think it would help to make the room feel much more proportional. The other thing that I think would help is moving this rug slightly so that it's less under the couch. It only needs to be just a few inches fully under the front leg of the sofa. So I'm not speaking about the chaise leg, but that core sofa piece. It just needs to be about 3 inches under that. And then what I think would help this room to feel more pulled together and more well utilized is to move the two armchairs that you have perpendicular to the sofa right now, instead to move them opposite the sofa. So kind of flanking the TV stand, but at an angle. I think that could look really nice. I think it could help to fill the space because right now what you're not doing is you're not appropriately filling the space. Do I think you bought the wrong size rug? Yes. I think you probably should have gone for a 9 by 12 or just whatever's the one step bigger. As you know, I'm guesstimating with all of this. So I wish you would have gone with the 9 by 12, but I think that just moving these chairs and kind of giving the room more purpose all around versus sort of having all the seating on the one corner of the room and having the other corner be sort of open and empty. For me, I think that would create better balance and help to utilize the space better. Then you're asking me, Betsy, what would you put perpendicular to the sofa to fill that gap? And it's in between two windows. And I could see like a really cool bookcase or etagere there that has some stuff that you could style that would give that space some intention. I could also see a case good, like a 3.5 to 4 foot high bar cabinet with then a beautiful circular mirror above it because there are two windows on that wall. Excuse me. I'm hesitant to put something rectangular there without some kind of curve. So, say I did go for the etagere or that bookcase, I might do one that has an arched top rather than a straight top. Right now, you've put two pieces of art in between the two windows. And the problem for me is that it's Noah's Ark, right? Two sets of two, and they're both vertical rectangles. It's not working for me. I really like the idea of doing some kind of gallery wall above the sofa, especially now that we know that the sofa is going to be, you know, I don't like any piece of furniture truly pushed up against the wall unless it is something like a bookcase, because we do want to anchor that bookcase, especially with a baby coming. But I like a sofa to be 3 to 5 inches off the wall anyway. We need room for good chi to circulate. We don't want it to look like our furniture is pushed against things tightly. But I think a beautiful gallery wall would just be so compelling. Also, the wall that has the windows, you've painted this really beautiful deep navy color. And the other walls are a stark white that's almost the same as the trim color. For me, it looks like an accident wall. You guys know what I'm talking about, especially Monica, who's read my book. But the accident wall refers to the fact that you've done one wall as an accent wall, but it doesn't look purposeful. It doesn't look complete. Instead, it's making the room look like you ran out of navy paint. And I think because the rug is so light in color, the wood tones are so light in color, and the couch itself is a really light gray. And then you have, of course, a ton of white ceiling. You have light colored floors. You have white trim. You have white blinds. I think making the entire room navy, even though I can only see three of the walls, not four, the three of the walls that I can see, it would just have a huge impact, especially with those light colored frames, the gold and light wood. I'm really loving the idea that you would I was going to say go for the gold because I was just talking about gold frames, but you would go for the navy and just do it. Make this bold choice because I also think that having this really saturated dark color will make this open, vacuous, kind of cold and empty room feel more cozy, feel more sort of encased in color. and kind of make the walls close in on you a bit so that it feels like a more comforting, homey space. A big thank you to Aton and the Embassy, who wrote our theme song. A shout out to Catherine Heller, who owns the podcast shop and is our editor extraordinaire. We also want to thank Ginny Sunasan and her team at the Savvy Podcast Agency for their help with our social, our YouTube channel, and so much more. We also want to thank Uploft, which is our parent company who supports this podcast. And lastly, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for all your support.